This prospect news is insane as Jonathan Lekkerimaki is dominating the AHL, putting up one of the best rookie seasons in the past 20 years, and Canucks prospect Ty Young is dominating the ECHL, and we get an update on him with massive implications moving forward. We're going to break all this down and more later on this episode. Before we get into it, I want to give a huge shout out to everyone watching this video. If you're part of the 72.5% that's not subscribed yet and you're enjoying this daily Canucks content, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. It's completely free and we'll keep up to date on everything to do with the Canucks. But with that, let's hop straight into the first topic today, which is we get an update on Canucks goaltending prospect Ty Young. This is from Dave Hall on Twitter. I'm going to link his Twitter down below because he covers everything to do around the Canucks and the prospects. He says Ty Young gets promoted to Abbotsford after an incredible stretch in the ECHL. His last 3 games, he stopped 45 of 47 shots in a 2-1 loss, stopped all 37 shots in a 4-0 win, and stopped all 30 shots in a 2-0 win. His .934 save percentage is second best among all ECHL goaltenders. Now, a lot of people might not know who Ty Young is, and Ty Young is looking like an absolute draft steal for the Vancouver Canucks. Looking at Ty Young, drafted in the 5th round, 144th overall by the Canucks in 2022, he has been dominant since joining the Canucks organization. We can see him with Prince George Cougars in the WHL, printed up a .903. He joined the Abbotsford Canucks for a 5-game stretch, going 3-2 with a .915 save percentage, before heading to the ECHL, having a .934, which is one of the best, the second best in the entire ECHL. Ty Young, at the age of 20, is looking like a stud for the Vancouver Canucks, and getting the promotion to this team is quite a promotion for the kid, as we did see him already play some games for the Canucks, which is 5 games, Abbotsford Canucks that is. But with this, the interesting thing is we do know the Canucks do have 3 healthy goaltenders. They have Tollopilo and Shilovs on the roster. Jiri Patera, I completely forgot, is on this roster, but he is indeed there as well. Looking at the Canucks team, they do have a lot of goaltenders on Abbotsford, but with the promotion of Ty Young, I can't see this just being a promotion just to get him up for a day or two. I do think we're going to see him hop into a few games, and he can most certainly do it, as we've already seen him come in and have a .915 in the AHL. Now, the biggest thing and the implications with the Canucks goaltending, I mean, looking at the goaltenders in the AHL, Tollopilo, Shilovs, Ty Young, and Jiri Patera. With these guys, it's going to get quite interesting with the Canucks, as they do have a goaltending problem coming up in 1 and 2 years from now. I mean, looking at this right now, Kevin Lankinen, who's playing incredible. We did see him start for Finland in the 4 Nations Cup. He'll start against Canada. As much as I love Lankinen, I do hope Canada takes this game. But looking at Kevin Lankinen, he has been a shining part on this Canucks roster. I mean, looking at the games he played, Thatcher Demko is someone that's been a brick wall for the Vancouver Canucks, finally getting his footing back. But both of these contracts will be up in the next 2 years. Lankinen still has yet to sign an extension. So it's going to get interesting to see what the Canucks do with this, especially with a lot of budding stars coming through the system in Ty Young, Shilovs, who we've seen him in the playoffs already, Tollopilo, who is a monster. These guys are going to eventually, one of them have to eventually crack the Canucks roster. It's going to be interesting what they end up doing with this. But what's your guys' thoughts on Ty Young getting a promotion? What's your thoughts on him having the second best save percentage, the ECHL, and already showing he can play in the AHL with his stint on the Canucks already? What's your guys' thoughts on this? Go down and leave a comment below. But with that, let's hop straight into the second topic today, which is Jonathan Lekkerimaki. Now, I just want to go back to showing Jonathan Lekkerimiki's first goal in the NHL. This kid has a rocket on him of a shot. Lekkerimaki is one of the Canucks' top prospects. Tom Willender, Jonathan Lekkerimaki, take your pickings. Both of these kids are going to be studs. Looking at Lekkerimaki, once again, shout out to Dave Hall. Awesome coverage on the Canucks. It's important to note that Jonathan Lekkerimaki is on pace to play just 53 AHL games this year, but he's on pace, and you can see out on the bottom, to score 32 goals in the AHL, which is the most since former Canuck Daniel Sprung in 2017-18 at the age of 20. Only 6 players have scored more than that at age 20 since 2000, and you can see the list here. Kyle Palmieri is above him in goals per game, which is .65 during his 20-year-old season. Jonathan Lekkerimaki sits number 2 with a .6. Thomas Vanek on this list. Anton Vernet Anisimov. There's a lot of good NHL players on this list to score at below a point pace that Jonathan Lekkerimaki is doing. Him being the first AHL player to score 32 if he does reach this at the age of 20 since Daniel Sprong nearly 6 years ago. This is a feat on its own. But I mean, looking at Lekkerimaki, we already know what this kid can do. Looking at Lekkerimaki, we already seen him on the Canucks scoring 2 goals, 1 assist for 3 points. He was a -6, but this was during a really bad stretch of the Canucks season. And looking at this, I don't expect him to ever have a bad stretch again. Looking with Abbotsford in 28 games, 17 goals, 8 assists for 25 points. We've seen him dominate with Abro HK in the professional Swedish Hockey League, putting up 19 goals, 12 assists for 31 points. We've seen him at the World Juniors. Jonathan Lekkerimaki is a future stud on this team, and I cannot stop talking about him enough. I think there was a comment at one point that asked, was I employed by Jonathan Lekkerimaki? I mean, I wish, but looking at Lekkerimaki in the AHL alone, this is the goal leaders in the AHL from rookie skaters. Jonathan Lekkerimaki sits number 4 with 17, but the biggest thing is 28 games played. Above him, 34 games. Second place, 47 games. First place, 40 games. Lekkerimaki has played 12 less games than first place and has scored 2 less goals. He's firing at a 0.89 points per game. Lekkerimaki has been dominant. Now, the biggest thing is, yes, when we're looking at Lekkerimaki and him scoring with the Vancouver Canucks, he did get a lot of bottom 6 time. Lekkerimaki is getting a lot of ice time with Abbotsford. With Abbotsford, you can work your way down, and I want to give a shout out to Neil Zaman, Atu Ratu, Arshdeep Baines. You can work it down. Elias Pettersson, who's firing at 1.15 points per game. Lekkerimaki is sitting number 4 on the team with 25 points above him once again. Played more games in 31 games. Atu Ratu only 1 more game with 4 more points. But Lekkerimaki joining the Abbotsford Canucks on his first season in North America. Well, first full season. I mean, we did see him already play some season last year with Abbotsford, but making the transition from European ice to the National Hockey League and the AHL alone is a hard switchover. But we see Jonathan Lekkerimaki look outstanding on this team. I mean, looking at just the stats throughout his career, we've seen him with the World Juniors under 20. Just 2 seasons ago, putting up 10 points, winning MVP for the team, scoring the most goals in his tournaments with 7. We've seen him with Abro. He scored 31 points in 46 games. He has played a lot of hockey over the past year. And looking at the Canucks roster, it's going to get interesting to see if he can crack this roster going into the playoffs or towards the end of the season. I do expect him to get a call up here and there throughout the season, but I think next year, especially if Brock is traded, we're going to see him as a full-time player, and not a full-time player in the bottom 6, but a full-time middle 6 to top 6 winger that's going to go out and shock a lot of other fans when they see his rocket of a shot. As I said, we can watch that clip one more time because honestly, this kid's shot's incredible. I am so excited to see him get his first full season in the NHL, and I wouldn't be shocked if he went out to score 20 goals in his first full season. But what's your guys' thoughts on this? What's your thoughts on Ty Young getting a promotion? What's your thoughts on the goaltending future for the Canucks? Do you think it's going to be Thatcher Demko? Do you think it's going to be Kevin Langton? Or do you think someone else in Abbotsford is going to make the jump as maybe a backup or starting goaltender next year? It's going to get quite wild because, I mean, we started the year with Shilovs and Lankinen. But what's your guys' thoughts on all this? What's your thoughts on Lekkerimaki? Let me know down below while you're down there. Leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back with another episode, so keep your eye out for that. But I've been your host, Mark Pye, and take care.